The following information is provided for educational purposes only, and in no way constitutes legal, tax, or financial advice. For legal, tax, or financial advice specific to your business needs, we encourage you to consult with a licensed attorney and/or CPA in your state. The following information is copyright protected. No part of this lesson may be redistributed, copied, modified, or adapted without prior written consent of the author. Before beginning this lesson, please make sure that you have your stamped and approved Articles of Organization back from the state. Otherwise, you will not have the information you need to prepare the next document. As we discussed in Lesson 2, California has a number of additional requirements for your LLC to remain in compliance with the state. The first of these requirements is called the Statement of Information. The purpose of the Statement of Information is to keep the state updated with your LLC's contact information. It includes your LLC name, your Secretary of State file number, the LLC's address, the names and addresses of the member or members, your registered agent information, as well as a brief description of your business. You can find your Secretary of State file number on your stamped and approved Articles of Organization that you received back from the state. You will need to file your first Statement of Information within 90 days of the approval of your LLC. Then, you will need to file it again every 2 years. It will be due by the anniversary date of the approval of your LLC. The anniversary date is the date the Articles of Organization was stamped and approved by the state. The fee for filing your initial Statement of Information is just $20. In 2 years, when you file again, the cost will remain the same at $20. Failure to file on time, whether it's the initial or the ongoing statements of information, will result in the state charging a late fee of $250, and they may eventually dissolve or shut down your LLC. Here are some examples of deadlines. Let's say the approval date of your LLC was February 15th in 2015. Your initial, or the first, Statement of Information would be due by May 16th of the same year. That's within 90 days of the approval date. Then, your next Statement of Information is going to be due February 15th of the year 2017. This is 2 years after the approval date. Then, your ongoing Statements of Information will be due every 2 years by the February 15th deadline. Let's look at one more example because I know hearing this all at once right away can sometimes be a little bit confusing. So let's look at example 2. Let's say the approval date of your LLC was October 1st in 2015. And you may be watching these videos in the future, so these dates are just arbitrary, just to help paint an example to make it a little bit more clear. Again, the approval date of your LLC is October 1st, 2015. Your initial Statement of Information is going to be due before December 30th of 2015. Again, this is 90 days from October 1st, the approval date. Then, your next Statement of Information will be due by October 1st, 2017. This is a full 2 years after the original approval date. Then, your ongoing Statements of Information will be due every 2 years by the October 1st deadline. Once you determine when your initial and your ongoing Statements of Information are due, you should not take any chance that your filings are delayed. You should file your initial Statement of Information as well as your ongoing Statements of Information as early as possible to make sure the state receives them before their due date. The state allows you to file your Statements of Information up to 3 months before they are actually due, so we recommend that you take advantage of this. Although the state will send your LLC a reminder for ongoing Statements of Information, it's a good idea to calendar the due dates on your own. And just a note here, they do not send you a reminder for the initial Statement of Information. That's due within 90 days of the approval, and it's your responsibility to send that. The reminders that you receive after that are going to be for the ongoing Statements of Information, again, which are due every 2 years. Even if you don't receive a reminder, you are still responsible to file your Statement of Information every 2 years. Once your Statement of Information is completed, you will need to submit it to the state along with the filing fee. You will find the accepted forms of payment and the address where to send your statement of information to below this video. It's a good idea to make a copy of the statement of information that you send to the state and keep it with your business records. We are now ready to fill out your statement of information. You can download this document below the video. Let's get started. Here we are inside the statement of information. This is a 3-page PDF document. The first and second pages do have instructions, and the third page is the actual statement of information. Feel free to read through pages 1 and 2, but we've already discussed all the details within this video. This form can be filled out on the computer, or it can be printed out and then filled out by hand. If you fill it out by hand, please make sure to use blue or black ink. Make sure that you print the documents on the letter size, that's your standard 8.5 by 11 inches. Also, please note that I have a professional version of Adobe Acrobat. You may just have a simple free version called Adobe Reader, and you may not have as much functionality in order to type inside the document. If that's the case, no worries. Again, you can just print it out and fill it out by hand. Another important thing to make note of is at the bottom of page 2 on the instructions, they do list the address where to send the statement of information to. The only thing is that you may be watching this video in the future, so we ask you to cross-reference the address that you find within your documentation or that you're watching in this video, and just reference the address that we have listed below this video. That's the most up-to-date and accurate address. Alright, let's get started. In order to save time, I've already filled out the information within this document. Under section 1, you're going to list the name of your LLC, and remember to include the full name with the abbreviation LLC or L.L.C. Under number 2, you're going to list your Secretary of State file number. I just included a bunch of X's because I don't have an actual file number for California. Number 3, you're going to leave blank. This is only for LLCs that are formed outside of the state of California. Under number 4, for your initial statement of information, you're going to leave this box unchecked. Now, moving forward, your ongoing statements of information, you're going to be using the same PDF document. However, if you haven't had any changes to the address or any information for your LLC, all you have to do is simply check this off. You can skip numbers 5 all the way down through 14, basically at 5 through 14, and then on 15 you just date, print, put your title, and sign. For now, because this is your initial statement of information, again, you're going to leave number 4 unchecked. And number 5, I'm going to list the address and the principal office of the business. In number 6, I'm going to leave it blank because the mailing address is the same as the street address. Now this is a little confusing because number 7 says the street address of the California office. So this one has to be within the state of California. Most likely both of these addresses will be the same for you. In my case, for this example, they're the same, so I just fill them in twice. Scrolling down, number 8, where it says name and complete address of the chief executive officer, if any. This typically would just apply to corporations, so you can leave this blank. In number 9, 10, 11, you're going to list the names and the addresses of the LLC's member or members. In this case, this is a single member LLC. I've just listed my name and my address. Heading down, under section 12 and 13, this is where we're going to list the registered office and the registered agent. In this case, I am the registered agent for my LLC, so I'm going to include my name and my address again. Remember, your LLC's registered agent could be a friend or a family member that lives in the state, or if you've hired a commercial registered agent, you will simply just list the name of that company here and their address on 13. Under number 14, they're asking for a brief description of the type of business. Now, this doesn't have to be an elaborate sentence. It can just be a few simple words, such as this example, plastics manufacturing and shipping. Other examples could say landscaping services, marketing consulting, etc. Then in number 15, you're going to list the date. You're going to print your name. Under title, you can put managing member. Afterwards, once you print out the document, you'll simply sign here where it says signature, take your payment of $20, and you're going to send that to the state. Again, the accepted forms of payment and the address where to send this document to are listed below the video. So let's go over some important points which we mentioned earlier in the video, that this initial statement of information is going to be due within 90 days of the approval of your LLC, and then it will be due again within 2 years of the approval date. Again, it's basically a way for the state to make money, and most importantly, they keep your contact information up to date. And if businesses don't file the statement of information, it helps the state keep their records clean because they eventually dissolve and shut down businesses. So you'll have to come back to this lesson in approximately a little bit less than 2 years. You're going to download this document again and just make changes to any information that's updated. If there's no changes to any of the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way down to 14, it's really simple. All you do is put the name of the LLC, your Secretary of State file number, you check off number 4 that says there's been no changes, go down to number 15, fill in the date, your name, your title, and sign. Let's just do one quick walkthrough again before we wrap this up. Again, number 1, name of the LLC. Number 2, Secretary of State file number. Number 4, for the initial statement of information, you leave it unchecked. For the ongoing statements of information, you check it off if there have been no changes, or you leave it unchecked, and then you go ahead and just update your address below. Number 5, you're going to list the street address, or in this case, this is the principal office address of the LLC, and you're going to list it again in number 7, the address of the California office. If your LLC is out of state, in number 7, you can list the street address. Down here, number 13, the address of your registered agent. You can put that up here for your California address if you don't have an address in the state. Hopefully that makes sense. Number 8, you can skip over. Number 9, you're going to list the names and addresses of the member or the members of the LLC. Number 12, you're going to list the name of the registered agent. Number 13, you're going to list the address of the registered agent. 14, a brief description. And 15, you date, print your name, your title, and then you print out this form and sign the document. All right, and that completes this lesson.